Alright guys, welcome to another podcast. I'm Jerber, and in this podcast we're going to be talking about World War One and how it all began and what made countries start fighting against each other.
Alright, so basically I'm gonna name 4 reasons on how these countries fought each other. So basically, one of them was the outbreak of World War One in Europe, which was nationalism. The belief that the interests of a single country were more important than cooperations among countries. This led to competition. The second cause was imperialism. Countries tried to increase the power and influence around the world, and this led to conflicts among them. The third main cause was militarism. Militarism meant building up armies, navies, and other armed forces. It also meant using them as a tool for negotiating with other countries. And Jared, can you please tell me the last one, since I've been talking so much?
Yeah, sure, my boy. The fourth cause was the alliance system. Some countries in Europe had made treaties promising to defend each other, and these mutual defense treaties placed European countries in 2 main groups. The Allies were made up of France, Great Britain, and Russia, and the Central Powers were made up of Germany, Austria-Hungary, and the Ottoman Empire.
Yeah, and with all these 4 causes, there was also another thing that really sparked the war, which was an assassination. In 1914, Archduke Franz Ferdinand was assassinated. He had been the heir to the throne of Austria-Hungary. His killer was a Serb who wanted to unite all Serbs, including those in Austria-Hungary, under one government. This touched off an action to punish Serbia. The alliance system pulled one nation after another into the conflict. If a nation had sworn to protect another, it had to declare war on that nation's enemies, which was Germany and Austria-Hungary, were facing France, Great Britain, and Russia.
Since the war started, I'm going to tell you where it took place. First, Germany began by invading Belgium. It planned to overrun France and then to attack Russia. The British and French could not save Belgium. They did, however, manage to stop Germany's advance. By the spring of 1915, 2 lines of deep trenches had developed in France. Germans occupied one line, the Allies occupied the other line. Between the 2 lines lay no man's land. That was just some type of slang they used, and then they used that name for those 2 lines. The soldiers would climb out of their trenches and try to overrun enemy lines. They did this while facing machine gun fire and poisonous gas, which is very, very hard. This bloody trench warfare continued for more than 3 years. Neither side gained territory, but more than 1 million soldiers died.
I mean, Jared, if you really think about it, what was this even for? That warfare stuff? Nobody even, won anything. Most of these guys just died for nothing. They got no territory out of it. So it was really, pointless. Alright, so moving on from that, we're going to talk about how the Americans felt about this war. In the United States, public opinion about the war was strong but divided. Socialists saw the war as an imperialist struggle between German and English businessmen. Pacifists believed that all wars were bad. They urged the United States to set an example for peace. Many other Americans simply did not want to send their sons to war.
Also, Lucas, many naturalized U.S. citizens still had ties to the countries they came from. Many immigrants from Germany, for example, sympathized for Germany. Americans tended to sympathize with Great Britain and France. I think it was because they shared a common language and heritage with Britain. They were horrified at Germany's brutal attack on Belgium, and they did not have enough people to do this fight, and they had strong economic ties with the Allies.
Alright, so we're done talking about how the Americans felt, and let's start talking about how it affected Americans. The war affected American shipping. Great Britain set up a blockade along the German coast to keep goods from getting through. American ships would not challenge Britain's blockade. German U-boats attacked ships from all nations. A U-boat sank the British ship. This infamous ship was called Lithuania.
To be honest, Lucas, we covered a lot about World War One, and it's crazy how everything went down in those times, bro. It's I can't even imagine living in those times or going to war at a young age with guns and explosives. But to be honest, it was great talking to you. Jerry Bear out.